Good day, fellow rockers, moshers, and the vinyl CD community. And today I'm just going to be doing a collection update. Probably things I received about the end of November, beginning of December, 1st, 2nd December sort of thing. So it's kind of like a December 1st collection update. And yeah, I got probably a list of 20 or 23. So I'm probably going to not try to do a whole bunch of description stuff and just rip through these things as quickly as possible with just giving a couple little insight descriptions. So anyway, let's get going here. So we got Bitch here, the first ever Metal Blade recording signed artist, actually. Bitch here in 1982, I believe. So naturally, being the first ever Metal Blade record signing, naturally Brian Slagle would have produced this. So if you really want to get in on your Metal Blade Records history, definitely know who Bitch is, as they were the first ones ever signed to Metal Blades Records. And next up we got Gamma Ray's third album, and this is one hell of a melodic, epic power speed album. And just to touch on the actual title track called Gamma Ray, that is one incredible song. Oh man, I love that song. Super special. Just touch on something really special there. And Ralph Sheeper sounds amazing. So if you're not familiar with Gamma Ray, if you think it's like overly symphonic, no, they were not getting into the symphonic yet. So those first, the first early Gamma Rays are not really much symphonic stuff at all. Before the symphonic wave hit later on in the middle 90s, so that was 93. So yeah, Insanity and Genius is 93. Next up we got Suffocation's 92, Pummeling Death Metalers here. It's kind of regarded as the drummer reinvented the modern blast beat that all the blast bands are using now, so that's definitely a must-have. Next up we got Third Strike, new metal kind of stuff, but I really want to touch on the singer. What the hell is the singer name here? Oh, Jim Corth. Yeah, so Jim Corth has since passed, but he was one super passionate vocalist, and it's just apparent when you hear some of these songs just how like deep and passionate the guy was. And if you don't like new metal, I'd still give it a chance, because he's a super passionate guy. And actually, I did a little bit of history on Jim Corth. He was a drummer in a band called Phantasm back in 86, 87, and Phantasm was actually a band started by the Hyrax singer and Gene Hoglan. Gene Hoglan never actually recorded with the band, I don't believe. I'm not really sure on that, but he was just in the band briefly for 86, and I think recorded the first demos and things like that. And Jim Hoglan had to step away and do his other millions of projects, and Jim Horth stepped in and filled in as a drummer when they went on tour and things like that. And again, Phantasm was a short-lived band. I think they only released one album that later got released years and years later as things get unearthed and say, oh, well, what is this? What can we release? So that's kind of a cool thing that he does tie back to the 80s, actually. Next up we got Manhole, aka Tura Santana. I say also known as because right after this Manhole album, they had to change their name to basically the lead singer's name, Tura Santana. And Tura Santana, this is actually produced by Ross Robinson. And if you know who Ross Robinson is from Korn, so yeah, that's kind of that. And I know Tura Santana was really good friends with Lynn Strait from Snot, so you can kind of just get an idea of what this kind of sounds like. And I mentioned Ross Robinson produced it. They're good friends with Snot, so I would say if you like Snot and some OTEP stuff, if you like the singer of OTEP, don't get involved in her dramatics, but OTEP did have some good tunes when she first came on, right? So if you liked OTEP and maybe some Korn, that would definitely be up your alley. Next up we got Melesh here. We got Arabian Black Death Thrashers. I'll try to zoom in on the sticker here, but they are from Israeli, right? Oh, it's calling it Sumerian. I called it Arabian. Okay, whatever. Anyway, they're from Israel, and yeah, just kind of black thrashers. They're not like lo-fi black metal. It's like nice production black metal, but mixed with some melody and thrash, and it's just a nice little package. Really good stuff. Nonetheless, check them out. Actually, well, this I showed again. This Enki album is incredible. They did have. I thought I wrote down. Yeah, they had 6 out. This was their 6th album, so they have a big discography. So it's definitely worthwhile checking Melechesh. I don't know. It's hard to say it. We got here. Oh, Deano's Nomad from 2000, a Deano solo album, and this is one hell of a power, epic kind of power heavy metal album. And Deano sounds great. You know, dare I say it's sacrilege, but sometimes I prefer his voice and kind of his style over Bruce Dickinson. Bruce Dickinson sometimes can get a little long-winded with his everything he pronounces, right? He pronounces every little word and stretches every little word, and Deano just doesn't do that. So he has a different style. And yeah, this is one hell of an album. If you can get it, pick it up. And I do plan on doing a Deano kind of artist spotlight at some point. I was kind of just waiting for this guy to come in, so maybe I can get that thing rolling here pretty soon. Next up, we got Annihilators' 2nd album, 1990, Never Neverland, and yeah, just fun thrash. I'm sure anyone watching probably knows Annihilator, Canadian band, and yeah, fun thrashers. I will halt this for a second because we got some rockin' music in the back here. This music is actually provided by Unwanted Youth back here. Always trying to play some obscure stuff for this collection updates and solo videos, because if you play popular stuff, you get flagged on the YouTube for copyright, and I don't want anything to do with that kind of stuff. So we got some obscure Unwanted Youth, and as you can hear, this is fast, like thrashers, hardcore, maybe a touch of thrash. I'd say they're just straight aggressive hardcore. Sorry. Next up, we got some Viela of Maya's 2015's Matriarch album, and this is kind of like a really nice blend of metalcore, deathcore, and there's even some touch of like industrial elements. Not a whole lot, maybe just some outro stuff has some industrial, you know, stuff going on, but you know, it's kind of just a nice mix of deathcore, metalcore stuff, and they were early on in the metalcore, deathcore scene, so they're pretty legit. They're one of the standout bands in that scene. What do we got next here? We got Sentence Amok from 1995, and Sentence was a Finnish band, from Finland, and they started out kind of pure death metal and kind of got into some melodic death metal, and I say this is where this falls in, the melodic death metal. The album after 1996 is quite drastic, where they were still doing death metal-esque vocals, and the next album after they completely dropped that and totally turned progressive. So this was their last of the great Sentenced albums before they got rid of the melodic death metal thing and just went more of a hard rock, progressive metal sort of thing. So this is the last great Sentence, I would say. Really cool stuff if you're getting into some melodic death metal. What do we got in here next? Oh, Warpath from 1994, Against Everyone, and this is one brutal, pummeling thrash album. Warpath is they've gone through a couple different phases, you know, in the 90s, in the first half of the 90s. I think, did I write anything down about this? No, I didn't write down what album this was. I think this is their third or fourth album. Anyway, they weren't screwing around by the time they did this album in 1994. It's just all out, high beats per minute thrash, and the album does not let up for 1 second. It is just relentless all the way through. So if you like extreme thrash, check this out. Next here we got 1 Minute Silence from 1998, and this is just incredible, aggressive, in your face. I don't want to turn you off by saying like rap, funk kind of metal, but like it's super aggressive hardcore music, like the background music is hardcore music, like very aggressive hardcore music, pop and hardcore music, but then the singer is kind of doing a rappy kind of funky kind of vocal over top. I'd say if you like Rage Against the Machine but always wish they had a more hardcore aggressive edge, this would be up your alley, because it's like Rage Against the Machine, but they are much more like in your face aggressive. Next up we got Overcast, second album, Fight Ambition to Kill, and this is one incredible thrash core, I would call it, early metalcore. And if you're not familiar, this was Mike D from Killswitch and Brian Fair from Shadows Fall's first band. So this was before they disbanded this Overkill band, and Brian Fair later kind of just kept going with Shadows Fall, and then Mike D started Killswitch Engage. So this is before both those bands, and this is 1997, 98, I believe, off the top of my head. And yeah, this is like, they're carrying over like that thrash. They are thrash, but then getting into some core. So I would call this thrash core. Really cool, heavy, aggressive stuff before the Killswitch and Shadows Fall. Even though Shadows Fall is kind of thrashy, thrashcore as well, but that's much more aggressive. What do we got here? Oh, we got Stuck Mojo's first album, Snappin' Necks, from 1995, and this is just really incredible new metal, rap metal, funk metal sort of thing. And yeah, Stuck Mojo was pretty hard on this album, so it is hard. Even though I do mention some things you might not be interested in, the funk, rap, metal. You know, the guitarist Rich Ward is a riff master, and he's laying down some heavy shit on this album. And yeah, I love my Stuck Mojo. I really wanted to get this first Stuck Mojo. This is a good album. They have a lot of good stuff actually in the 90s, but you know, you gotta be in the mood for it. But that is heavy, aggressive stuff. And I was doing a show a month back about a new metal show. One of the guests mentioned Ramstein. I'm like, damn it, I actually don't have any Ramstein. You know, some of the stuff I'm not all fully into, but I really did want to get their first album, Hair's the Lead, from what year is this? 1995. So this is Ramstein's first album, and I really did want to get it. I kind of just forgot about it because I know Ramstein's super huge, it's super popular, and I wanted to get this because this is becoming more harder to get, you know, as the years goes on, and people are collecting CDs now and everything. You know, with COVID, the shutdown, people are just collecting things a lot more now. And I'd say get this while you can. If you can get this while you can, do it, because this is going to be one of those things in 5-10 years, nobody will be giving these up. It will be very hard to get. So I luckily got it from a Canadian local seller here for $10, and you know, thank you, because again, this is going to be one of these things where it's going to be very difficult to get in the future. So get that while you can. Great first Ramstein album. Yeah, funny cover, right? They kind of look like they're about to do a gay porno or something, but. You know, it's heavy, groovy, heavy metal there. You know, obviously it's industrial elements and things like that, but that is a good Ramstein. Next up, we got Baphomet's 1992 latest Jesus album, and I will touch on, don't be confused with the, oh, my eyes will itchy here, but don't be confused with the other, there is another Baphomet, a death metal Baphomet, and they are slightly different. This is more of like a death thrash. The other Baphomet is pure death metal, and this Baphomet is a little bit different. They're definitely more of a thrash, an extreme death thrash, and yeah, kind of death thrash. That's all I really need to say to know what you're getting yourself into. 1992, so it is coming out of that 80s kind of extreme thrash thing going on there. I don't know if I really don't know anything else, and then. We got a gap filler for me for trying to complete my Amon Mars collection. So we got Surtur Rising. The years is 2011. This is their 8th album, and at this point, I think everyone is familiar with Amon Mars. You know, they kind of modernized Viking metal and gave Viking metal that term. Even though I know it did come from Bathory, but Bathory was more seen as an influencer into black metal, so he doesn't really get talked about a whole lot in the Viking metal thing, even though he did have some Viking themes, and well, he did actually have a ton of Viking themes, but people don't really think of Bathory as Viking metal. When you say Viking metal, people more think of Amon Amarth, so they did modernize that thing, and that's a gap filler for me where I'm trying to complete the Amon Amarth collection. What we got here? We got Wasp here. You know, this is Wasp's second album, I believe. No, it's their third album, sorry, 1986, and yeah, you know, everyone knows Wasp at this point. I don't really need to say a whole lot about this. Good album, obviously. And we got Pawn and Burning Bodies, straight from the Burial. And this is one hell of a unique, kind of fun party-core band. I'm just going to zoom in on the spine. Oh, it's not really. Anyway, Upon a Burning Body. It doesn't say on the cover, but this is Upon a Burning Body, and this is really unique. Latin-influenced metalcore, deathcore sort of thing, but I kind of put them in that fun partycore band where, you know, if you play this, you're like wanting to kind of party or feeling like you're in a party sort of thing, and they got these really cool, unique Latin influences that, again, if you do not like deathcore, I'd say definitely check this out because it's going to be nothing like you've ever heard in your life, where they have some unique Latin influences that no other band, like Texas Latin influences, really unique. That's how I kind of really like these guys, and they do stand out from the whole watered down deathcore scene, just based off the fact that they do have these Latin influences, things like that. And last we got Dark Tranquility's third album, The Mind's Eye. And you know, Dark Tranquility was early on in that melodic death metal scene, right in the early 90s. I believe the first album was 93, and obviously they would have had demos and things like that a little bit before, and then they all came from the Scandinavian, you know, death black scene that was early, you know, coming out of that 80s, 90s thing. They were all, you know, all the early In Flames guys and Dark Tranquility, they were all in bands together, and then kind of did a similar thing like Killswitch, where they were all in bands earlier and kind of split up and created their own bands. So Dark Tranquility came out of all those, came out of like the In Flames and all this stuff. They were all in one band and then split up and created all their own bands. Anyway, yeah, you know, you obviously would be familiar with Dark Tranquility, third album, this really spot on melodic death metal, and yeah, these guys were doing good stuff, and they're still around. I've seen Dark Tranquility a few times. Oh, there's a cool little sticker on the back I will try to zoom in on. It's not really doing it. Yeah, I'll just read it here. Mind's Eye, a timeless classic by Gothenburg's melodic death metal pioneers. Yeah, boom, there you go. It's exactly what I was saying. So there we go. We got a collection update, and again, we're jamming some music by the Unwanted Youth. If you like what you hear, see if you can pick this album up cheap. You never know. Alright, peace. Peace, love, metal, rock, mosh, all those kind of good stuff, and check you later.